Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. For those of you who've been following the development in Tanzania, you must have realized that SAMIA Suluhu Hassan has embarked on another strategy of trying to please the West. But at the same time, SAMIA Suluhu is refusing to allow EU, AU, UN to be the one in charge of the whole process of mediation. Now, talking about that move, ladies and gentlemen, there was a video that was shared where SAMIA Suluhu was conducting some roadside rally and the Prime Minister was also in attendance. And then there was the issue of deaths. But then there's something that came from Suluhu's mouth. And she was telling the Prime Minister that it is him and his, police that were responsible for the deaths.
Umezungumzia mauaji yaliyotokea Mwanza, lakini kuna mauaji yametokea Mtwara, na kwa taarifa zilizopo ni jeshi lako ndio lililofanya mauaji. Kwa maana hiyo, taarifa nilionayo ni kwamba sasa jeshi limetengeneza kamati ya kufanya uchunguzi alafu walete taarifa. Haiwezekani jeshi lifanye mauaji, jeshi lichunguze lenyewe. Ndugu zangu wananchi na Watanzania, nimemwelekeza Waziri Mkuu aunde kamati nyingine iende ikafanya uchunguzi wa mauaji yaliyofanywa na jeshi la polisi, alafu watuletee taarifa. Lakini wakati huo Mheshimiwa Waziri, nataka jeshi lako lijitafakari, waone kama kinachotokea ndio misingi ya jeshi la polisi au vinginevyo.
So from that statement, ladies and gentlemen, I am meant to understand that she is trying to run away from the blame. Of course, people have been blaming her over all these mistakes. So the only way for her to survive, she believes that it is to apportion the blame to the Prime Minister, to be the one in charge of doing the investigation and the like. Now, there's also another statement which has come from the President. The issue of the demonstrations and the funding.
NGOs zetu za ndani na za nje, tunaambiwa kwamba vijana wale walioingia kudai haki walilipwa fedha kwanza ndio wakaingia barabarani, na wengi wao waliingia barabarani kuendana na hizo fedha walizopewa.
The government of Tanzania is now slowly blaming NGOs for financing those street protests. The NGOs are believed to have bankrolled the whole protest on the streets. Now, I can't say that is the true position or not, because investigations are still ongoing. She formulated a commission of inquiry to look into this issue, come up with some point agenda which are going to form part and parcel of the guides or the guidelines in the mediation process. So she is at the moment blaming the NGOs. Now, if I look at the statement from the President, and I also go back to the statement which William Samoei delivered, back then during the protests in Kenya, Ruto blamed the NGOs, that the NGOs were the ones who are financing activists in Kenya, and these activists were in turn channeling this money to certain Gen Zs who would in turn demonstrate on the streets. So that blame was apportioned directly to NGOs. Now, if you look at the statement coming from SAMIA Suluhu and the statement that came from William Samoei Ruto about blaming NGOs, then you find that SAMIA Suluhu is actually copying exactly what Ruto used to do, especially apportioning the blames on the NGO. Now, let's get back to the demonstrations.
Jeshi la polisi Tanzania limepata taarifa za watu ambao sio raia wa Tanzania.
We all observed what was going on. Who do you say that NGOs were the ones who paid all those people to go on the streets? And demonstrate? Or are we saying that because the West have been blaming Tanzania's president over how everything was handled, now maybe because of that is the case, now she's also taking it upon herself to be as the president of Tanzania government to now start blaming the same West for always fueling animosity between citizens and the governments under the guise of democracy, you know. So SULUHU is being smart, very smart. Honestly speaking, the words from SULUHU, if you very keen, then she is trying to be very smart. So of course I know this is a move of trying to endear herself with the EU, with the UN, you know, we also trying to endear herself with the Commonwealth, the SADC, you know, because all those bodies blame her. I have not come across a body that has praised her election. All those bodies I've mentioned, key bodies, they blame her. Now, when Ruto was complaining over the same things about demonstrations in Kenya, the blame was apportioned on the Ford Foundation. You all heard how Ruto dealt with the issue. He blamed the Ford Foundation. So, but in Samia Suluhu's playbook, she has not directly pointed to the Ford Foundation, but she has talked about NGOs which must be investigated. Some government officials also must be investigated. And if there is any lapse in the military, people who are responsible for bad command, then again, those ones also must be investigated. So until all these investigations are thoroughly conducted, Samia Suluhu believes that she's not to blame. So based on your own understanding of the whole situation that took place before the election and after the election, what do you think? Do you think NGOs financed or bankrolled the demonstrations? All those people who are sitting in the streets, were they bankrolled? Now, I saw a certain video of a white man on the streets, I think protesting with the Tanzanians in the streets. I don't know whether that was an AI-generated video, but I saw a same person whom I at one particular time saw in Nairobi also a certain video about him, you know, demonstrating the streets of Nairobi. And back then, when he was in Kenya, the blame was on William Ruto. But in this other video, the blame was on Samia Suluhu. Is this what Suluhu is calling NGOs financing or bankrolling these protests? They are motivating the Tanzanian people to demonstrate. They are causing animosity between the citizens and the government. Just tell us below in the comment section what you think about that move. So, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Till you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.